At the outset, I thank the conference organizers and my dear friend Professor Bhaskaran, the Director Madam of the Center for Research, Anna University, and all my friends in Anna University for enabling me to come over here and give this talk. The title of the talk is Privacy Assurance. Many of you may be already knowing what is privacy. Even if you receive an email from an organization, bottom portion of the email you will find the privacy understanding of that organization. But there are a lot to be done in the context of privacy. So, we will be looking at all those details, what is that we have been doing in the context of privacy, and we will try to identify what privacy IoT networks require. So, that also is being addressed in this session, which is our focus here. So, in this is the agenda. If you try to look at in this first picture, I have tried to say something that the dog is looking at. So, we are all very much fond of searching the internet. Whenever we search something in the internet, if we find something more curious, so we will try to identify what is that, who has done that, how it is being done. So, all that investigation we ourselves will do. Our investigation may lead to a right path or wrong path, that we do not know, but we want to know who has done what. For example, if you search the internet about me, there are several pages. Like me, the same name Chandrasekaran, there are many people in different other NITs. So, instead of my name taking you to NIT Surathkal, you may go to some other NIT where some other NIT Chandrasekaran is there. It has happened to me also. So, that way there are many things that are there in the internet. So, what is that privacy that has to be there in the internet? That is what? The first picture. The second one, no. Like every now and then nowadays, it's a modern trend that Father's Day, Mother's Day, Grandfather's Day, like that, there is a privacy day. The whole world is celebrating that. People are looking at that. So, the privacy day was January 28th this year. So, every year January 28th is the privacy day. What companies are doing, what individuals have to do, and so on. So, privacy day is January 28th, that was celebrated recently. The next picture, all of us, particularly Indians, we are normally cautious people, but abnormally we miss many things in the internet. If anybody asks, for example, if you go to a hospital and they ask you to fill up a form, we do not normally ask a question, what for these details are asked? Who will be using that detail in your hospital? That we do not ask. We simply fill the form, give it to them, and later what is going to happen, we do not know. And after some time, we may be receiving an email or a mobile phone call asking somebody to give the details of us or for some other purpose. That time only we will realize that why we gave that details. For example, it happened to me only. My wife went to somewhere and there was some details were asked. So, you tell your marriage day, when you were married. So, she did not know anything. So, she simply filled that date in the form given, she left it and came. So, very next year on the same day we received a phone call from some unknown person wishing us. Luckily, we got only the wishes. If something else had happened, you know what is happening in the whole of the world. So, that and all will have to be remembered. So, we should know what is to be hidden, what is to be given, how it can be given. So, all that are the procedures of privacy assurance. So, privacy, a simple scenario. Privacy, I am just comparing privacy with gold. Do any Indian declare that I have this much gold? Nobody will tell. So, similarly, privacy means what about me should be told to others, what should not be told to others. That also there should be a restriction. So, that way privacy is to be compared with gold as far as Indians are concerned. So, privacy is the right to be let alone or freedom. So, individually what we have to give, what should not be given, that is what the privacy is. Massive data breaches, wearable technology, social networking, targeted advertising, miscues, all these are all the culprits of today's world. So, you must be knowing there are several, in India itself we have been listening to several stories, in newspapers you might be reading. So, the Aadhaar card details are stolen, credit card details are stolen from that particular bank. So, that is how carefulness been given by those organizations to preserve our own data, the individual's data. So, how we individual can contribute, that should be learned. So, that is why we need to learn what is called privacy rights. So, each individual here, not only in India, the whole of world, we should learn what is that privacy right. Without individual privacy, there is no meaning in the individual's life. You may not, we the common man as of now at this hall, whomever is assembled, we might not have individually got affected, but there are lots of people, lakhs of people who got affected because of privacy. So, privacy we need to know for our happy and secure life in the modern world. So, many people get confused, what is the meaning of privacy, how is it related to security. So, data privacy or simply privacy is what data to be collected, where it can be shared or how it can be shared and how it can be used. If we try to identify that, that is called privacy. Security on the other whole, it is an umbrella terminology which talks about the security as such internally as well as externally. And similarly, there are equivalent terminologies, privacy and confidentiality. So, these two are also conflicting terminologies. Privacy is to me, what details about me should be given, should be stored. Confidentiality is what details about me can be given with faith, with truthfulness, with trust to somebody else. That is confidentiality. Of course, security, information security is known to all of you. So, the number, there is some number written. So, this button is not working, I am going here. What is this number? Those numbers are nothing but the standards. In the whole of world, for everything there is a standard. For example, if somebody designs this chair, how the design of this chair can happen. So, there is a standard. Likewise, everything is governed by the standards. We are not going to talk anything about the standards. So, in the digital world today, what we need to understand about the privacy, there are different branches of privacy that we need to know. Physical privacy, behavioral, decisional, information privacy. Information privacy is a superset, and the physical privacy, behavioral privacy, decisional privacy, these are all subsets. So, maybe for example, in order to give you some understanding, information privacy is an umbrella term or a superset. Physical privacy means, for example, if I walk on the stage with one leg limping, that is a physical privacy of mine. You don't have, the third party is not having any right to comment on that. Of course, a common man in India, also everywhere, will feel pity about that person. But there are people who comment, take advantage of that kind of behavioral aspects of any individual. That should not happen. So, how to prevent that? So, that is what the physical privacy. So, in today's digital world, the other branches of privacy often feed to the information privacy, and within the privacy there are several multiple research domains. Privacy as a secrecy, privacy as control. So, if somebody wants to do research in privacy, so there are many aspects of doing that privacy, and privacy technology is the broad term used to describe the technology solutions that solve the privacy problems. Privacy technology is not the same as cyber security technology, but they do intersect. And privacy technology covers privacy enhancing technology. So, whatever we do for privacy, including our talk called privacy assurance, inclusive privacy, all are coming under the umbrella of called privacy enhancing technologies. So, how to enhance the privacy? So, then if you want to understand what are the examples of privacy assurance, there are companies which have already come up with solutions. Apple company which has come up with a pop-up window of iPhones in the last April, 23 April, that asks people for their permission to be tracked by different apps. You must be knowing, we simply we go to Play Store, download app, and we do the checkbox without reading what is the privacy related data or assurance given by the company, and therefore that app works in our mobile phone. That should not be the case. So, Apple introduces a new concept called every app can it be using your private information. That kind of tracking is already done by Apple. Similarly, Google recently outlined a plan to disable tracking of technology with its Google Chrome browser. Similarly, Facebook last month said hundreds of its engineers were working on new method on showing ads without relying on people's personal data. You must have seen these are all some of these things have already happened in the physical world. For example, if somebody in this stage talks and that goes into the news and the newspaper if it's a wrong message, something on wrong, so the newspaper really should hide the face of that person, only the voice can reach the public. That kind of attitude is the third application. So, all those details you can read in this website, the last link that is given here. So, there are many different applications or examples of privacy assurance are already available in the net. So, privacy in IoT, in our job is IoT network. So, Internet of Things is becoming more widespread every day. That means the consumers that need more and better security, and that is why we want the privacy to be there. So, that means all the security related issues are translated into privacy. So, we need to understand the IoT networks for the purpose of this privacy, that is the very specific activity of ours. So, IoT data when it is generated, it is shared with other IoT device by means of a service provider, typically hosted in the cloud by a third party service. If you look at all IoT application architecture that are given in various research papers, they say cloud edge continuum. That is the word that people use. What does it mean? IoT is installed or deployed in an environment. From there the data is sent to an edge computing device. From the edge computing device the data goes to cloud for the further processing. So, in that way there are 3 layers of architecture are available in any IoT application. Now, in each of that layer there is a concept related to privacy. So, that is what we need to understand. What normally a common man understands, privacy means it is related to the storage of data or transmission of data, only that much. It is not true. So, we need to have a holistic view of privacy, and that is what the understanding is. So, in terms of look at the last bullet, that is in terms of initial connection setup, firmware update messages, periodic status updates, and so many other related activities in the 3 layer architecture of IoT, we need to understand the concept of privacy. That is the question here. So, when we try to understand all the 3 layers that I have just now narrated, we can ask all these questions. Is my IoT device collecting personal data from others? If yes, what kind of data it is? So, there are long list of questions. Where is the data being sent? How is the data being used? Who has to access that data? And so many other questions. So, when we tried looking at the research papers, understanding about the privacy, working on privacy, no paper gives the answers for all these questions. Nowhere we find the answer. So, whenever you deploy a IoT network in, for example, somebody wants, so the previous talk was on energy efficiency in this stage. So, energy efficiency, for example, those last rows are empty and somebody wants to switch off those fans, automatically that can happen with the help of IoT network. So, assuming that I am deploying such an IoT network in this stage, and how to switch off those fans which are not relevant to this hall because of the chairs are not being occupied. So, the control to those fans, where it got generated, how does it travel to from node to node or to the controller, and the reply from the controller to the IoT device, all will have to be analyzed. Are those signals or those messages being analyzed, understood for the understanding of privacy? For example, a controller may be given the signal from the operator sitting here, whereas the operator, the major operator who is sitting elsewhere, may not be liking the fans to be switched off. So, who has given the control, who has not accepted that control, that kind of understanding is also equivalent to understanding the privacy. So, when we ask all these questions, there is no answer in the research. So, this is the generic picture of the diagram that I have shown you. On the left hand side, we have the application user and the user interface, and on the middle application and the data service, and at the end data at the rest. So, in between, if you look at in the blue color, no, there is something written called confidential servers, confidential confidential containers, confidential databases. This word confidential has been borrowed from IBM. So, in order to implement privacy assurance, IBM had come up with a new solution called confidential computing. Like cloud computing, like any other computing, if you go to the IBM's website and if you give the search string called confidential computing, IBM has the confidential computing world. So, they have their own domain through which they wanted to implement the privacy assurance. So, privacy assurance is about providing clients and internal all stakeholders with a clear message about organization's privacy practices. Assurance is about a passive or positive declaration intended to give a confidence. So, I have to trust my all stakeholders, and the vice versa, all stakeholders must trust me, the IoT network. So, that kind of concept is nothing but the privacy assurance. So, privacy assurance, it is an independent assessment of the suitability, design and operational effectiveness of organizations' privacy and protection controls. So, what does it mean to us? Privacy means going beyond the paper layer. You all know, we are all Indians, so we know if something is assured by somebody, that assurance will exist only in terms of papers. A document, if a document is produced, signed, sealed, that is the end of that assurance. Beyond that, the assurance, whether it is followed up for practical purposes, not known, nobody knows, nobody bothers. So, privacy assurance in the internet world, in particularly in the IoT applications, cannot be like that. That is what we wanted to say. Similarly, complying with the commitments, commitment is also assured. The higher authority commits, yes, my organization has these many privacy policy assurance activities. That is said in the paper, but is it being followed? That is the question. Challenging the controls, competitive advantage, all these are all the questions that need to be raised when we want to think about privacy assurance, not necessarily in IoT networks, in general. What is inclusive privacy? This is a new term being coined by some researcher in the industry to say that privacy assurance cannot come from a single point of control of any application. It should be a holistic view. It should be from all the subcomponents of a complete system, and that is what the understanding of inclusive privacy. So, inclusive privacy, as we said, with the privacy concepts included in these data processing time. If you think about, so IoT network means naturally the big data should come into your mind. So, when you think about big data pipeline, data processing pipeline, so there are several activities in that pipeline. So, in each and every activity of the pipeline, the privacy should come into the mind. So, that is what from all possible and different dimensions of assuring privacy should come into picture, and if we have that, that is called inclusive privacy. So, in order to implement inclusive privacy in a given application, a simple solution is not possible. So, that is what our finding is. So, we need to identify what is called a framework. So, in computer science, the word framework means there are multiple solutions combined. So, a framework is essential. So, privacy assurance through a framework called inclusive privacy framework is the focus of our work, and that is what we have attempted, and that has been partially done. So, there are, if you look at the literature, who all have done the privacy assurance or inclusive privacy framework, 1 or 2 papers available. So, there is a good opportunity for the researchers to work on privacy assurance or inclusive privacy. So, if you look at the already existing framework, so the third line talks about the auditing, assurance by means of auditing done by third party. Second layer is about the privacy assurance by means of different devices. The first layer or the first portion is about the operations of the business, IoT means IoT related operations, and so on. So, this is a 3-layer or a hierarchy has been developed in order to understand the privacy. So, if you closely look at those hierarchy, there are 3 distinct activities that are visible. So, what are those 3 distinct activities? Privacy control framework. So, who has to control, how it can be controlled. Compliance monitoring, once the control is mentioned, how it can be understood in terms of what is called compliance. Compliance is nothing but matching. And establishing KRI, key risk indicators. So, like key risk indicator means in case of violence of privacy, how that privacy can be assessed and the side effects can be evaluated, so that a remedial course of action can be designed. So, that is how there are 3 distinct activities if we look at the previous slide, that is the architecture. So, these are all some of the activities that people have proposed in order to automate the privacy assurance. So, anything in the computer world, in the digital world, there is no manual intervention, everything will have to happen automatically. So, in order to make the process of privacy assurance automatic, so these are all the activities that have been proposed by different researchers. For example, record of processing, this is happening in every government setup. Those who work in Anna University or those who work with like me in a government setup, even in private organizations, every activity will have to be recorded, whether I say yes or no. That is why if you look at an approval letter, there will be 10 people who would have signed, put the initials. What does it mean? Every step it has been verified and assured. That assurance is more important, and that kind of assurance, how to bring it in terms of an automated solution for IoT application or any generic application that is there in the internet. So, that is the work. So, how do we record? That is a big challenge. So, we cannot record like a manual recording automatically. Similarly, privacy impact assessment, how much the impact of that privacy assurance given by that particular record of document, digital document. Data subject rights, consent management, privacy governance, breach response, data flow maps. So, in that way there are many different sets of activities which need to be understood in terms of automating the privacy assurance. So, again this is another research findings. So, in privacy assurance there are small components. Privacy, so if on the first column if you can read, which is available in the PowerPoint presentation that will be given to you. So, privacy policy, privacy control, security attacks and so on. In every aspect only people have done little work. So, the issues related, that is the second column. The third column, potential remedy, people have said this is how it can be done. But when we read all these items, all these literature or the work that is already done, none of these questions that were raised in one of the earlier slides have been answered. That means those questions still remain as it is, not answered in the researchers' world. So, beyond those questions, when we come up with what all the design practices that are possible. So, these are all the design questions or design aspects of designing privacy assurance. So, minimize, hide. So, I will just explain only one. So, it is already 2:45. So, minimize means what? When I go to, let me say the example of hospital. So, when I go to a hospital, I have been asked to fill a long form. Some of those details are not at all necessary for the hospital, but still they have asked us to fill the form. So, minimize means what? Minimal details of a particular guy is required who can be given a treatment in the hospital, maybe outpatient or inpatient, whatever it is. So, that kind of questions we will have to come up, and those are all the design practices or design issues related to the designing of privacy assurance. So, we have come up with certain design principles. So, I will skip those slides also. Now, we are all talking about AI, artificial intelligence. The whole world is talking about AI, machine learning, deep learning and what not. So, what is the meaning of privacy assurance in the context of AI? I will just read only the last bullet. So, in the context of AI, everybody knows WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, everything. Invariably, everybody shares every other data. So, the data sharing trade-off is more predictive power. You are enabling people to predict what is going to happen, who could be that, who is going to be that and so on. So, more predictive power is more privacy risk. That is why more of cyber security problems, cyber crime people, cyber crime police and so on required. So, privacy in the context of AI, so these are also certain things. So, in that context now we have come up with certain another set of research questions. What are the prevalent business network intentions to increase the trustworthiness to elevate end user privacy concerns? If I am an end user of an IoT application that is deployed in this room, what can be the privacy concern of an individual who is part of that network? No answer. I cannot contribute anything as an individual to the application that is already running in this room. Can I control any switch off any fan here for energy efficiency purpose? Not possible. So, what if I do? That can be done, that is the question. Similarly, second question, to what extent network or business intentions and end user perceptions match? So, I as an individual, my intention of privacy assurance, does it match with the organization's privacy assurance? No question, no answer. You go to I was telling you, Play Store, you go download an app and that app's privacy, does it match with my privacy expectations? We cannot say anything on that, because if you don't say, if you don't click that button, no, you will not be able to download that app itself. Third question, to what extent interoperability compatibility is the biggest question from the day one of computer science. When you think about deploying IoT applications in this room, some components you will buy from one vendor, another component you will buy it from another service provider. When you try to match all these things, there will be naturally incompatibility. How to overcome that? That is why people have come up with a new technology called API. API is already known to all programmers, but it is an upcoming world. So, there are universities which have been offering a new elective called API technology, application programmers interface, how two different vendors solutions can be interfaced. So, that is a new technology that is coming up. So, of course, that is also a research question here. Last one, to what level of increase in privacy concerns in the context of AI can be controlled and how? So, AI, how it can be used for controlling privacy, the vice versa is also a question. How the privacy can promote the AI in order to release the AI privacy understandings from the user's viewpoint. So, in that way there are multiple questions, and these questions have not been answered by any research so far. So, we have come up with a multi-model or multi-perspective lens for privacy assurance or inclusive privacy. All the previous slides, some questions we asked, all those things, are outcome of this. So, privacy policies. So, there are companies, every company has got its own privacy policy, but those privacy policies, are they adhering to assure the privacy or not? That is the question mark. The answer is no. Similarly, processes and procedures and all those things, I am not going to read all that. So, these are all the multi-model things, and for each of that, there is lots of lump sum work that can be done. If you are a computer science guy or a management guy, so from the management MBA viewpoint, after your MBA, if you want to do PhD, you can take it up as a management related activity. If you think about a computer science or information technology, you can take it up as an IT related work. So, in that way there are lots of potential in each of that. So, this is how the privacy assurance approaches from the 4 different corners: consumers, that is end users, service providers, government, industry, regulation. So, in each of that, there are lots of opportunities for privacy assurance. Another term that has come up already in the world is what is called AI assurance. Artificial intelligence, everybody knows, machine learning, deep learning and so on. What is AI assurance? So, AI assurance is an important component of wider organizational risk management framework for developing, procuring, deploying AI. This is what the morning speaker also was telling. AI has come up. When I use AI for my company, is there any assurance from my AI, my company, to the end users that AI will not harm anybody? There is no answer from AI. So, if we can get that solution, that is called AI assurance. So, privacy assurance associated with AI assurance gets this whole scenario more complicated. So therefore, we say that privacy is an evolving concept. So privacy commitment, continuous improvement, methods and the standards. That's why in one of the earlier slides I said some numbers. Those are all standards. So I'm there in one of the committees of BAS something. So the evolving standards. Time to time that standard also should get changed. So in that way, there are several things that we need to think. So future expand. This is another important domain. I am saying privacy assurance, inclusive privacy. How to measure that? Like measuring voltage, like measuring current, or measuring anything. Can I measure the privacy assurance given by this company to me? Can I measure? There is no way to measure. So measuring privacy concerning for research focuses mostly on providing technical or intra-organizational solutions in a fragmented manner, not a holistic manner. An overarching evaluation of the fundamental privacy assurance measures is missing. So nobody says how to measure that. If a company says WhatsApp or Facebook says this is how I am providing privacy to my users, who has to measure that? How to measure that? That company itself does it measure? No answer. Company does not say anything. So measuring that privacy assurance or inclusive privacy is another biggest challenge. It's as good as providing privacy assurance. So in that way, there are many things, multiple layers of or architectures of IoT applications we can realize. In every component or every layer of that hierarchy or IoT architecture, it is possible to realize the privacy assurance. And in addition to all that privacy assurance or inclusive privacy, AI assurance is also an upcoming domain which adds more complexity. So moment the complexity increases, the complexity of the whole privacy also increases. So how to overcome from that kind of problem is the research domain for the technical and organizational issues. So there are references. So all these links will be useful in case you want to read further on privacy assurance. I have not put all the links, but there are certain links including IBM's. That's all from me in the context of saying something on privacy assurance, that is inclusive privacy. In case you have any questions, I am happy to answer you.
Do we have any questions to Professor? Yeah.
So good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, please.
So we have BIS standards evolving.
Yes.
So is there any BIS standard particular for privacy?
It's getting as I told, I'm in that committee. So there are companies. It's not only one individual or two individuals who can come up with the standard.
Yes.
So most of the time, since I'm there in the committees, I can tell you, most of the standards are evolved or brought into the commercial domain by the bigger bodies like NIST or ISO, all that. When it is taken to a country, a particular country, that particular country's standardization organization like BIS in India will have to tailor make or customize those standards suitable to our country, this country, any particular country. So that is what we are doing, but privacy assurance related standards are not existing as of now.
Yes, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, come forward.
Privacy and security are missing, no sir?
No. So
When we have a location, we on our location, our privacy and security are missing.
That is what we are also saying.
In that case, the privacy assurance in AI shall I integrate to secure purpose? Shall I integrate?
AI can assist you in providing security, but that security or the privacy, will it be assured? That is the question. AI can assist you in providing security, also privacy. There are solutions for that are already existing.
Sir,
Okay.
is it feasible to go for deep learning or AI, sir, for privacy?
I am not talking anything about technology like deep learning or this solution.
Machine learning. Okay.
But in terms of conceptual understanding of privacy assurance or inclusive privacy, that itself there is no clarity in the mindset of everybody. The common man, the industry, the government, in all levels, there is no clarity. That is what our research outcome is.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Hope I have understood your question properly and answered you properly. Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions do we have to Professor? Sir, I have one question.
Please.
I am no computer engineer, I am a structural
we
engineer.
need not to be, yes.
Yeah.
Uh.
So, all these clauses of privacy, so these will be taken care by the companies, right? Yeah. Is there anything that is developed or under development to take care of the hacking part?
As of now, when I talk about privacy, every company tries to take care of the privacy of end users. Okay, like WhatsApp, they take care of, really they take care. But only thing, whenever you do something for privacy or in general security, there will be always a guy who will try to be more smart than this guy. That's how the hacking also takes place. So, how to tackle that kind of hacking in terms of privacy attacks, there is a separate component called privacy attacks, like security attacks. Privacy attacks are also there. That is also coming under the umbrella of called hacking. So, that has to be solved, yet to be solved. Not complete set of solutions are available as of now.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Yeah, if there are no more questions, thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.
In addition to improving our knowledge on the privacy assurance, you have also given a word of caution to us. In these days where we are really relying upon everyday vlogs that we are making and updating here and there, uploading here and there, Professor's words, in addition to the technical content, it has also given us some sort of thought process where we have to be cautious about giving out any data from our end. Thank you very much, Professor, for sensitizing us on this topic. Thank you very much. Yeah. Let us.
One last word, in case anybody wants to do, in our NIT there is something called Master of Science by Research, also PhD, which is a common thing. In case you want to do in this particular domain, you may contact me in case you want to come to Mangalore, wanted to live at Mangalore. Thank you. Thanks to all of you once again. Thanks to the organizers of this conference and the whole Anna University, because I belong to this place living in Karnataka. So, thanks to my place. Nice of you. Thank you.